G'day, it's Clint Adams here, and I'm with Ineke Clark with no E on the Clark 2.0, catching up to discuss her latest venture, Ambition Consulting. Ineke was our first guest on The Full Landscape and currently is our last guest on The Full Landscape. In this podcast, we talk about her decision to go into the business of unicorn branding.
Exactly.
Why the business is called Ambition. Where her client bases are going to be, and hopefully a few little tips and tricks there that can help any young people or young businesses that are starting out around their social media. If you want to check out any of Ineke's socials, go to or search Ambition Consulting. Consultants on the social Google machine. Hope you enjoy.
Y'all ready to turn it up tonight?
Talk about bar. How do you say that?
Bar.
Why are there so many letters?
Good question. But it's, Pilates and bar, not bar-A.
That's a fair... There's like 6 letters. B-A-R,
double R,
R-E. Yeah. Like the R-E are just like, oh, we're silent.
It's a ballet thing.
Oh, you mean ballet?
I think it's just pronounced ball. The E and the T are silent. It's a ball thing. All right, so what you were our first guest on The Full Landscape, kindly. And I'll just use my phone while we're doing this podcast, and just look at stuff. Now, when you first came in, I had a tendency to talk over my guests, which I'm working on. So I'll try to give you a bit more room this time around. This is on my list of questions for you today.
Fantastic. We've got lots to talk about.
So I wanted to come in with a blank page. I don't really know what's going on with you and your new business. So if you want to give us the quick 3, if there's a 3 or 5 minute or 30-second elevator pitch for Ambition and what you're doing now and what led to this.
So something that I have always been passionate about but probably hadn't actually found the words for was helping people achieve their ambitions.
Yep.
Every single company or person or business owner that I've ever worked with has had ambitions of how to improve or grow their business, but not necessarily the time or the knowledge or the skill of how to do so.
Yep.
And I've discovered that what my strength is understanding each brand's individual strengths and being able to highlight them in a way that resonates with their target market. And obviously I've got a niche specialty in the landscape industry, but my skills are transferable to all different fields.
Yep.
And I get a huge amount of pleasure out of working with people to help improve their brand presence, and in particular marketing and business development. And I feel incredibly lucky to have had the platform of the landscaping industry for so long now to be able to meet all these amazing people and have the potential to be able to work with lots of them on growing their brands.
Yep.
So I feel very, very lucky to have this opportunity.
So I've tried to get a kind of a one-sentence answer from you, and I know it's probably hard to articulate.
Well, this is the thing.
What are you actually doing?
It's really hard to actually put my skill set into one box. Yep. And when I was trying to explain to people this is what I am or this is what I do, the best term that I came up with was brand management consultant.
Yep.
But even that is limiting because I do much more than just help people manage their brands. Yep. But it's because it's marketing, it's business development, it's recruitment, it's social media, it's event management, it's PR,
yep.
It's therapy in some cases.
So like a brand unicorn? If you were to steal,
yes.
Or just a unicorn consultant?
Yep.
That could be confused as someone that consults 2 unicorns.
I did actually at one stage, probably
because
of DK's influence, think about calling my company Brand Unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I actually searched that.
Would you have been okay with that?
I don't think so.
No.
I think that'd be copyright issue.
And it was
and
available.
We're familiar with trademark now. Oh, no.
It was available, Brand Unicorn. Yeah.
DK's just like, well, was it?
Just register that.
Media corn?
No,
Stuff in here.
it did actually take me a long time to come up with my company
It's so
name.
hard, especially when it's a branding and marketing consulting company.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can overthink that as well, I guess. But
Yeah, that's right. And you risk ending up with something really quirky because so many things in that space are already taken.
yeah,
But I'm really, really pleased with what I landed on because it helps to describe what I want to help my clients achieve.
and you found that all the socials were available.
Yes.
Did you use any particular tool to
And
check that?
For my perfectionism, that was very nice to know that the handles were available across all platforms, across Instagram
Yep.
and LinkedIn and Facebook
Yep.
and domain name.
Because you've got an underscore in your Instagram.
That annoys me no end.
Well, I
I've-
posted last night. I was like, she's got an underscore in there.
I've approached, so there is
You've approached.
Instagram,
Okay.
the account,
Ooh.
and they've got very few followers, no profile picture,
Yeah.
and their bio just says no,
No. As in,
No.
this is not for sale?
as in, yeah, well, and I've messaged them, and
Yeah.
they've never replied, because
Well,
I
the
did
replies in
consider,
their bio.
because again, exactly, but my perfectionism, I wanted to get rid of that underscore, but I wish Instagram had some way of actually monitoring inactive accounts, because something I
I'm
discovered.
sure you're not alone on that one.
Yeah, and anyone out there who's looking for a company name, that's the sort of thing that I would like to help you with, is navigating that space
Yep.
when you're working with a global or several global platforms and so many names are taken, and the number of brilliant business names that I came across that were sitting there on Instagram, and it was someone with 3 photos of their cat,
Yeah.
and they haven't posted anything since 2014. Wouldn't it be cool if Instagram had a way of actually regulating those sorts of inactive accounts?
I'd say if you had enough money, there'd be a way to regulate. You
True.
know, like if you were a shareholder in Facebook, a majority shareholder in Facebook, Instagram, those accounts would just disappear and then become yours. But
Yeah.
I understand that it's annoying, especially when it's, you know, for me, if I find like at Clint, the guy's got 250,000 followers, I'm like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
you're using it,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I'm not going to intrude on that
Yeah.
space. Yeah, but Instagram,
Was Ineke available?
Ineke's not available. Ineke's taken. Ineke.com.au is available, and I did consider going down that path.
You should just buy that.
Yeah, I probably should.
We can sell it to you for $499. We wearing my rubber band, so I don't talk about myself, but just funny, I was negotiating clint.com.au up until about a month ago, and I got a deal, but I didn't realize I was bidding for it in US dollars, so the money I was happy to pay for it, and then they sent me a bill and I didn't pay it, and they're like, what happened? I was like, yeah, too expensive.
Sounds like a pair of boots that I found when I was in LA. I got back from LA last week, and I found a pair of boots that I fell in love with, and they were $495 US. And I thought, that's similar to RM Williams. I can probably cope with that. And that's
because you're processing it in US mental dollars, in
Yeah.
AU dollar numbers. Yeah.
700 Australian dollars. So I left the boots where they are. And Brent Reed from Candio Design will be listening to this podcast, and he's very upset with me for leaving those boots behind. But I couldn't
Because
justify it.
he's a shoe fan.
He's a shoe fiend. Yeah,
He's a fiend. Is that taken at Shoe Fiend?
shoefiend.com.
Can we check that out? You only regret the things you don't do,
So true. Yeah.
and you're going to be pissed off at yourself for not buying those boots, especially when you start charging 700 Australian dollars an hour for consulting, and you're like, those boots were 1 hour.
Do you realise how much this interview is costing you
A lot.
right now?
Well, with his wage and yours, Jesus.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can sell some advertising. Anyone interested in advertising in front of this, please get in touch. So you've obviously finished up your time with the MLSA. How long were you there for?
2.5 years.
And going straight into a new business, you wanted to have some time to yourself?
I did.
Yep.
But like many driven business people, I know you're the same, it's very difficult to have time off when you're about to launch something new.
Yep.
So although I did take some time, I've spent the most of it planning and building the new business, the new brand.
2 decent plane rides will help, won't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So I did take a little bit of time out, but I've been frantically working away on it in the background, and there hasn't been too many times when I've not been thinking about it.
Yep.
As I said on social media yesterday, it's a total labour of love. And you know full well that starting a new business of any sort is really difficult, particularly if you are a driven person and you want to get all the details right.
Something that you've probably got that I don't have is that desire to have it right. We just start running.
I could have a little bit more of your, I think.
And I could probably take a bit more of yours.
Yeah. We could share our skills.
Maybe I could hire you as a consultant.
Brand unicorn.
Imagine you had some kind of consulting option. I was crushing all the cables behind me. So, what was it? I've never been to America, so what was it like over there in LA?
It was fantastic. The main purpose of the trip was to visit my brother, who's been living there for 7 years.
That's crazy.
He's an aspiring actor.
So he works at a restaurant?
No, he's a production manager, so he works behind the camera, but spends much of his time attending auditions and has had various roles throughout the year, but he's waiting for his big break.
Yep.
He was on Neighbours for 4 years here in Australia.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
I think I can see it. I mean, I obviously don't watch Neighbours, but I think I can see his face in Neighbours now.
And was most famous for marrying Margot Robbie on Neighbours.
Get out.
True story.
Did you know this? Wow.
Yeah.
So does he stay in touch with Margot Robbie?
He does.
No shit.
Yeah.
So his big break's not unrealistic.
No. Well, she was at exactly the same level as him on Neighbours. In fact, she came in after him, but she's had a stellar rise, obviously, since then. And her big break was the Leonardo DiCaprio movie,
Wolf of Wall Street. Amazing movie if you're a crazy business person.
And that's the difference between being a relative unknown to being a global superstar is one movie.
Yeah,
so,
true.
But I don't know. I have a lot of admiration for what Sam does because to hang out in LA for 7 years waiting for that magic moment would take so much mental strength, probably a lot more than I think I would ever have.
Yeah, the reason why I joked about working in a restaurant and didn't mean for it to sound offensive, that is it Penny from that TV sitcom, she's like an aspiring actress.
Yes.
What's the show? Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And she works at the Cheesecake Shop because everyone in LA is trying to be either an actor or they are an actor.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So okay. So did your time there, I guess, give you anything for what you're doing now? Like, obviously being exposed to such a different market.
It did. I think another motivation for me going over to LA was to give me that global perspective before I launched into my own brand, because we can be extremely insular here in Adelaide, as well as in Australia.
I was going to say, you're not limiting yourself to Adelaide, I'm guessing, with what
No,
you're doing.
I've already got clients in Melbourne. In fact, most of my clients are interstate at the moment, which is fantastic for me, and that is something that I want to build on. I'm very fortunate to have amazing contacts in Melbourne and Sydney in particular, and have some of my first few clients have been based there, and love the fact that I can work. You know, who knows? I may end up with an international client as well, which would be incredible. Because
you don't necessarily need to travel to do what you're doing.
No, definitely not. No, I can provide support for those interstate clients. I'll be providing support, obviously, by email, phone, and Skype. And we can work together as seamlessly as I would with anyone here in Adelaide.
Yep. So so you obviously travel to LA, get your international perspective, continue working on the brand. Are you set up? Are you going to have staff over here? I mean, how likely is this to go crazy soon?
Yeah, I've given myself a huge challenge of taking on a staff member almost straight away, anticipating that there would be a fairly high demand for what I offer, and recognising that the business will need that support to succeed. So I am taking on my first staff member in July, a part-time staff member.
I'm assuming no one will be surprised when you release who it is.
No, that's right. No,
your wingman. Is it
my
your wingman?
wing woman, yes.
Your wing person? Sorry, being politically correct here in the politically correct offices of Waterpro.
Some people think that we're sisters. Many people assume that we're sisters, but Sarah's a fantastic person who I came across working in my local coffee shop, and I observed her over a couple of years having an amazing...
Observed is a really nice way of saying stalked.
Yeah, stalked her over 2 years. And
if I did that, I'd get reported.
True.
So, anyway, that's just me.
Mm-hmm. And observed her work ethic and fantastic personality and ability to draw people in. She's got a magnetic personality, And she had the sort of qualities that I wanted for my own brand, the sort of qualities that I feel that I have elements of as well.
Yep.
And I thought, I've got to bring Sarah in and we need to work together, and we've just connected. Some people become instant friends, and beyond working together, we've really formed a strong friendship.
Yep.
And she's an incredibly good support for me. So that's really nice, because I am launching this brand as a solo business owner. I'm very, very lucky to have someone coming on board who believes in the brand as well and who will be good support for me. And also means that I won't have to limit what we can offer in having that extra support. The last time I launched my own brand, I took on 5 clients and they all grew, and then I had no more capacity.
So it wasn't scalable?
It wasn't scalable. Whereas this time round, it definitely will be.
So when you took on those last 5 clients, what were you doing? Like social media management or brand management, or like,
Everything.
So for like posting on Facebook, like organising events, give me more.
Well, this is probably one of my problems that I'm going to have to manage as I go along, is that I can do so many different things.
So I could just ring you up and say, hey, I'm doing a end of year barbecue. Can you organise the whole thing?
Exactly.
And you'll be like, yep, this is the price structure. It's this, and this. This is what you're going to get for it. And all you need to do is rock up.
Exactly. And for a lot of busy business owners, and I guess in working with me, because you could call other people and say, organise my barbecue and I'll pay you.
Yep.
And they'd say yes. But I've got a unique understanding of your industry, your customers, and who you would want to be at the barbecue, and how you would want your company to be portrayed.
Yep.
So that's where the skill comes into it, and the industry knowledge.
Yep.
But yes, so you could call me with any variety of requests. I had someone yesterday say to me, can you go to IKEA for me? And they were joking, but I think the idea of a consultant is paying someone to do what your time is not very well spent on.
Yeah, okay. So you could have
that was not
organised
said
someone
very
to go to
articulately, but for a business owner, often their time is incredibly valuable. So why would you do something that you're not very good at, and you don't have time to do? And if you paid someone else to do it who has an understanding of the platform, social media is a perfect example of that, and your time could be better spent elsewhere.
So you could do MailChimp, Instagram, Facebook.
I can organise an awards night for 500 people. I can do anything.
We should organise our own awards night, DK. What would we do it on?
Where would you have it?
Podcast awards. Best podcast.
Waterpro's best podcast.
Best industry.
Of like the 28 podcast guests.
Oh, we're all nominated.
and you're all automatically nominated.
Everyone votes.
Voted by your peers.
Well, I've just got an advantage because I've got 2 episodes.
Yeah. Or you split your votes between your 2 episodes and you destroy yourself.
Actually, we were talking about that before. It's Carl Heine's birthday today.
I saw you posted on his wall today.
Happy birthday, Carl. And I thought one of the best snippets to come out of the Waterpro podcast so far is the "What tree would you be?" snippet.
I can see it in my head now.
Yeah. I was trying to think what tree I would be, but I couldn't think of a specific tree. Whereas I thought Carl was very clever to come up with, wasn't he a fig tree?
The thing that was funny about Carl is that he didn't actually just say what type of tree he would be. He's like chosen the actual tree because it's looking at stuff. He just thinks about things differently to everyone else.
Yeah.
So you released on social media yesterday that I guess the soft medium release,
soft launch,
that this is what's happening. Have you had much contact now? Like, is there a genuine concern about your being too busy and taking too many clients on, and are you going to have to kind of sharpen up your offering or the specifics around what you do you think? Or
I started saying that before and we went off on a tangent.
Sorry, my rubber band back on.
One of my problems is I can do so many things, and so I have a risk of being pulled in 18 different directions, which then makes me less able to help more people. So I am trying to be very selective about who I take on board.
Yep.
I have had a strong response to the fact that I've started my own business again.
Yep.
And I do want to make sure that I build it in the right way so I can help as many people as possible, and not limit myself in what I can do. Because I believe that with this new model that I'm working on, I can help lots of brands grow without myself suddenly becoming maxed out within a few months, which is what happened last time.
Is there a risk of any brand conflict for you? Like, do you, obviously your network's so landscaper heavy. For me, if you were working for one of our competitors, I wouldn't work with you.
Completely
Are
understand.
you going to have that kind of issue, do you feel, or do you just kind of take that one
case
conversation at a time?
Yeah, no, that's a very, very good question because it is likely to happen. I think anyone who works with me knows that I'm extremely ethical, and I have, even working with the master landscapers, for example, there was many conflicts. Lots of our sponsors had crossovers.
Yep.
And I give each of my clients the service and the attention that they deserve. I would never share secrets amongst clients.
Yep.
And I think that if you were to come on board and work with me and I happened to be working with someone else who provided a similar sort of service,
Yep.
we'd make sure it was very clear up front that this is how you expect to be treated.
Yep.
And you wouldn't work with me if you mistrusted me.
No.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, more. I'm not. I guess I don't ask from a trust standpoint. Just to like, I don't want if you're my resource, I don't want to allow my competitors to have access to the same quality resource. That's how I'd look at it and go, well, you've come up with a good idea for me. I don't want, if you came up with another good idea that was great for our market, I don't want that to get used. That's all I'm looking at, more than a trust. I didn't intend for that to sound trust issue.
No, that's all right. Trust issue-ish. No, that it's probably more of a case of, well, as you said, client by client.
Yeah, and that can be. They're not going to. If they're not going to talk to you, they're not going to talk to you, I guess.
No, exactly.
That conversation. Do you think you're going to branch out into other markets? I mean, do you think building, I guess, construction is a low hanging fruit, or retail?
Don't know if it's a low-hanging fruit. I'm really interested to see where this goes from here, and I have absolutely no doubt that I will end up working in other industries because it's already starting to happen.
Yep.
I bought a computer the other day, and the company that I bought the computer from said, "Oh, I've noticed what you're doing, and would you be able to help us?" So I think I'll naturally start moving into other industries.
Okay.
But I do love the construction industry, and I don't know if we'll be going too far too soon because I think my years of experience in both landscaping and construction in general, it means a lot to me, and I do want to keep on focusing in that space.
Because of the people that are in the industry?
Definitely the people, and just the quality of the work that our industry produces.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly proud of it and always was in my role with master landscapers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are they going to? Do you envisage saying no to any clients?
I think.
Do you have Could you imagine anyone ringing up and saying, "Hey, I'd like you to work with us," and you saying, "Look, you don't fit." Like, obviously, we've got our 12 values that we have. Have you got anything like that in place where you're like, "Look, it's important that we work with this A-type client or whatever"?
Are you asking me who my blacklist is?
No, I don't want to know who they are. I just want to know, would you have... is there a potential that there is some? This is more me. Obviously, when we produce content like this, I want to try and bring as much value to our listeners and not make this so much about an ad for Ineke's new business. Obviously, if we can deliver some snippets of value around, how you set up a company and what you did to get your website and all that in line for anyone that's, I guess, young and about to start a company or leave a job and start a company. And obviously, have you got any values or not even values, but rules around how your business is going to go? And that was just something that came to mind. I was just interested,
Well, for starters, I don't have a blacklist.
Yep.
But I think in terms of choosing to work for people or not work for people, something that, or a value of my company that relates to that, is that I won't have contracts with anybody.
Okay, so if someone can use you and just stop.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think if they're not enjoying working with me, I don't want them to feel locked in. Yep. And likewise, if I feel that the working arrangement's not working for me, I'd like to be able to move on as well. Yep. So that ensures that it's mutually beneficial. Yep. And that means that they'll continue to see value or they won't work with me.
And you'll need to make sure that you're delivering every month.
Exactly.
Or every week or whatever the predetermined period is.
Yeah, but the only reasons why I've stopped working with people in the past is because I've gotten too busy.
Yep.
And I am in a position, thankfully, to be careful at this point in time with who I work with. So, yeah, I think for anyone starting a new business, a good tip would be, although the temptation is to rush into it in the early days because you're worried that you won't get any clients, do what you can to sit back a little bit, observe, and then you might end up in a better position if you can be selective about who you work with.
I think that's a good tip. We did work for a guy in Medindi, a lawyer who, this was before we opened Waterpro or Fluid Designs. We were doing some lawn and subsurface irrigation back in, I guess, around that 06, 07. Was it back then?
The golden age of 2007.
When the water restrictions were at their peak, and it was one at the end of the night we were watering the lawn, and I was just standing there talking, and he was just standing there smoking like a cigar, and I was saying how busy we were and how we couldn't take on any more work and all this, and he said like the most powerful word you'll find in business is no, and when you start saying no to things, you'll really truly open yourself up to receive better quality yeses. And I think for you, you're probably, because you've got so much of a network now, and then there's going to be a lot of people who are like, actually, I can see how we could use Ineke to help us with this and that. You're going to be at risk of, if you say yes to all of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Having then to do it all and going, this is not what I wanted. I didn't start my own business to be less happy than I was before. I want to be more happy and more free. Have you got some kind of idea around how many hours a week that you're going to be working? Like, is work-life balance important to you, or are you like just all in, let's kill this now? No,
work-life balance is really important to me. Like we were talking about before, my Pilates and bar. Yep. No, I think that one of the reasons why I have been able to work at a high capacity in the last few years is that I have focused on my work-life balance.
Yep.
That said, I don't have children or a partner or any commitments outside of work, so I'm able to focus 100% on work and look after myself outside of work. But I do strongly believe that keeping some sort of work-life balance, whatever that looks like, is the key to success. In terms of keeping if you look after yourself, it's much easier to be mentally strong. And for me, I find if I'm physically strong, then I'm mentally strong as well.
That resonates with me. I don't do enough of it, but I understand.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, I live and breathe my work, but like I said, I'm in a unique position to be able to do that because I don't have too many other commitments outside of work.
So I guess obviously you're going to be working with a lot of landscape type folk via osmosis. Is that even a thing? I'm guessing you're not a member of the MLSA or a sponsor as such. Do you see yourself at events in moving forward? Obviously, a lot of people have developed really good relationships with you. Are they going to still see you around? Or
I hope so. Something that I know instinctively is that I will still continue to have an influence on the industry in some way. And I'd like to see Ambition hosting its own events in future for like-minded people. That's something that I would be incredibly passionate about. Listening to the industry, finding out what in particular they might feel they want more of, whether it's networking or some sort of collaborative training, and being able to provide something like that. I think that will happen naturally because, again, every role that I've ever held, I've ended up creating or being heavily involved with the community. And that's what I want to do again this time round.
That makes sense.
Just in a lesser, obviously, in a lesser scope than what I did with Master Landscapers.
Well, you don't have to do anything now.
No.
Whereas when you're an employee, and especially when you're in a position like CEO, you have to do a lot of things. Is there anything you're not going to miss doing? Like, I don't know, reports or like, was this, I guess for me, I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting pointier and pointier and pointier. Like I don't even want a laptop. I don't want to do emails. I don't want to read stuff. I just want to talk to people.
I had to think about that, which really surprised me just then. I thought I'd immediately come across a couple of things that I'd think, oh, thank God I don't have to deal with that anymore. But I think it's probably just being pulled in so many different directions. The CEO role, Master Landscapers grew so fast. I think membership increased by something like 200% and sponsorship increased by 400% while I was
in the 2 years.
In the 2.5 years. And a spike like that meant my role went from, because I started 1 day a week for Master Landscapers, and by the end of it I was 5 days a week and had 3.5 staff. And the demand on my time just increased drastically. And I think that that's why I've actually found this last month really challenging, mentally challenging.
Because you've had nothing to do.
Yeah, because I went from everyone wanting a piece of me all the time to me sitting at home starting my new business and not having anyone wanting a piece of me. But I think, but at the same time, that's one piece that I won't miss is being pulled in so many different directions. The number of events that I got invited to with master landscapers that I had to turn down.
And because you didn't have to go.
I didn't have to go.
But they wanted you there.
But they wanted me to be there. And I was always perpetually feeling a little bit guilty about not being able to attend all those events. Yeah. We had 40 sponsors, and I would have liked to be at everyone's Christmas party, for example, and it just wasn't possible.
They're all in that one fortnight or one day or 1 week.
Yeah, that's exactly. True. Yeah, so that's something I won't miss, but at the same time, that amazing network that we created has got me to where I am today. So I'm thankful for it as well.
Enjoy these...
#blessed.
#blessed, Jesus Christ. Tell us about the value of hashtags in Instagram posts.
Well, that's a whole other podcast.
I guess, enjoy this period. The startup phase is such a pure and clean and beautiful time where you've got this uninterrupted time to just be you with you. Eventually, I believe you'll probably have 4 or 6 staff and offices, and you'll be putting out fires every day, and you'll kind of reflect back on this and be go like, oh wow, I remember that time when. You know what I mean? Should have
bought those $700 boots.
You can always go back and get the $700 boots as well, especially if you have a loved one that lives near the $700 boots.
True.
So, and look, I don't know how long those boots are around for, but maybe you could tie that to a goal.
But what I meant by that was you're right in reminding me that I should actually be enjoying this time because it will get crazy busy before we know it.
Yep.
And there's lots of things happening within our industry nationally that I think are going to make for a really exciting few years. And I think the states are going to be more aligned than they ever have been before. And that's something that I feel within my clients, but within the whole industry as well. And I think companies like Waterpro are going to be a part of that as well.
Hopefully.
I know you will be.
Hopefully. And look, hopefully the economy stays as buoyant as it has done. I'm double-sided on that. I kind of don't mind having to fight during, I guess, wartime business. I've spoken about it before, so hopefully the good times and the connectivity will roll on because of the strength of the national economy. I guess if it doesn't, then it'll sort out the adults from the children. I was going to say the men from the boys, but you can't say that anymore. Is there anything else you want to touch on? I didn't want to turn this into a 5-hour podcast.
No, that's all right.
Tim Harper.
I'd love to come back at some stage and just talk about marketing in general.
Actually, that'd be a really good one. Oh, I had one crowdsourced question.
I had a couple, but they weren't appropriate for the camera.
Really? People sending you inappropriate stuff via Instagram? What is this madness? Where is the question? I'll tell you the question. You see if you can work out who sent it in. Do crabs think that we are the ones that walk sideways?
Is that Tim Harper?
No, but it is very Tim Harper-esque.
Oh, who would that have been? My mind immediately went to Tim. It's not Peter from Adelaide Plant Recovery.
No. Younger. Landscaper, male.
Oh, Mitchell Davies.
Another good guess, but no.
Tyler Freeman. Corey.
So he was the only one that was nice enough to ask. So
can you repeat the question?
Do crabs think that we are the ones that walk sideways?
100%. And I love the mental process behind that. I think that's so cool. I think we need more of it. And yes, I do think that crabs believe that humans are the weird ones.
I heard a question this morning. I was listening to a book. The book, what is it? Delivering Happiness. And it was funny because I got that question this morning, and then on the way here, I was listening to this book, and oh man, I'm going to have to remember it. I'll have to post it in the comments. But it was a similar question, just around perspective, and seeing things from other people's perspective. So yes, let's do that. Let's do another catch up and talk about maybe Ineke's top 10 tips and tricks to mastering your social media. Obviously, not everyone's going to be in a position to be able to afford you at all. not because you're expensive,
Not at
but because there
$700
is.
per hour.
That's right. You're going to
Yeah.
be buying those boots, and
Yeah.
or
I'll be
$4.99 US an hour, depending on
Yeah.
where they're working. But those, I guess, sole trader. Is there anything that comes to mind straight away that you can throw out there as a tip for a sole trader now? That's, obviously they've got their phone and they're, say, a gardener or a landscape contractor or a lawn mowing contractor around growing their Instagram following. Is there anything you can throw out that might be of value to them?
Definitely. I think it's making the most of the platforms that are available to you. And that's something where hopefully I can provide value to people, maybe not necessarily on an ongoing basis, but assisting with setting up those platforms for the first time.
Yep.
Because we've got so many free, amazing marketing platforms at our disposal.
Yep.
And if you set them up correctly and feed them on a regular basis, then they'll do the work for you. But I think a lot of people struggle with how to actually set them up initially, or how to optimize them.
Yep.
And that's the sort of thing they could definitely come in and talk about, is just some basic tips on how to get...
We could do a webinar.
We could do a webinar.
Add that to the list of things that you can do on your resume.
Have you done any webinars before?
No.
I can't imagine it would be too hard.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy.
Not with the equipment we've got. So, yeah.
But our industry is so visual, so making use of the platforms that are available, that all you need is a phone, as you say.
Especially with Instagram now. It took me a while to adopt Instagram. I guess because of my age, I was more of a Facebook user. But our whole market lives on Instagram.
Because I've come across a lot of people in our industry who don't have a Google presence. And it's very easy to set yourself up on Google.
Yep.
And I think your online footprint is incredibly important these days, because people are looking more inwardly than outwardly. They're looking more on their phones than they are at signs on the street.
Yep.
And yes, word of mouth is still important, but I think if it's that easy to set up your online footprint, then why wouldn't you do it?
Spend the hour doing it. Google's something that I do a little bit with, and obviously Google own a large market of the internet. And they obviously tried with, was it Pages? No, Google Plus,
yeah,
which just died. But I believe that there'd still be something in their algorithm that gives you more, I guess, website clout if you are regularly posting on your Google page.
100%.
Well,
they can't.
And no one's doing it.
But also, if you're not listed, then they don't know that you exist.
Yeah.
So just make yourself known in that way. Which again, as you said, it can be a whole of an hour's job when you're first setting up a new business. So yes, there's a huge benefit in creating your online footprint. I've used the word platform too many times.
Do you have any Google alerts?
No, I don't.
Do you?
Yeah.
What are your Google alerts?
Artificial intelligence video editing. Just so I can stay ahead of it.
That's like a kind of an oil refining company, just like the world no longer needs petrol. Just like, we're just trying to stay ahead of electric cars and stuff. Mine's a bit more self-indulgent. Mine's Clint Adams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So every couple of days I get an email about Clint Adams in the world that...
who are the other Clint Adams?
There's an author in America who owns clintadams.com, and I can't see me getting his web address. There's a few. There's some CEOs, and obviously the ones that are getting talked about on the internet aren't, they don't have a kind of poultry farm in the mid-southwest. And it's like...
There's another Ineke Clark online, only one other that I've
come
across. With no E. And
Clark.
She's a Dutch woman who's married to an Australian man, and we're Facebook friends. And quite often it looks like I'm liking and commenting on my own posts.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a pretty unique name.
Does she have an Instagram handle?
She does, and she took Ineke Clark. With no underscores.
Clean.
Yeah.
I also have Waterpro, and that's always interesting because there's random Waterpro there's so many filtration and pump and whatever companies with Waterpro in them. So
did you see when I searched Waterpro under Giphy last night? I got some quite random results.
Beer bottle, a boot,
and some money, and a dancing can.
Which is annoying that our GIFs haven't taken off. DK made some.
Yeah, and that's what I was searching for. I was wondering if they'd pop up.
Yeah, it's odd.
Can we just throw some money at that? Just get them.
I searched Clint as well.
Spell that properly. Be careful what comes up.
It's based on how much it gets used.
Yeah.
So
So I just need to be using it all the time.
yeah.
Does the GIF or GIF have metadata so that it knows if it's being used? Like if I'm just using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can log into the account and see how many times it's been
Okay.
shared and all that.
But I can't find it in the account. That's my problem.
That's the tricky thing. Does it have a unique?
That's what I mean. Yeah, send me the links. I'm just gonna start putting it everywhere.
Does it have a unique handle so I can search for
That's
it?
what I was kind of getting at.
There's links to it, but not like a at.
Not an
Whatever,
at. So,
yeah.
but if you're on Instagram and you're in Giphy, can you paste that link and they'll come up?
I don't think
That'd be interesting
so.
to test.
Yeah. I think it just links out to the Giphy
Those sites,
Yeah.
and maybe only
External.
just pulls from the top 400 or.
That's the thing. I think that
okay.
when you search it in the Giphy search thing, it
Yeah.
only pulls, the top.
Most popular.
Yeah.
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 So we just got to use it everywhere else.
Just gotta make it popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
There you
send
go.
everybody gifts all day.
Well, I'm just laughing in my head about the fact that all these business people are trying to work out how to grow their business or like maximize profit, and my only focus now for the next couple of weeks is how to get my gifts ranking
On Instagram.
highly enough on Instagram that you can send it back to me, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
So on that note, thank you so much for coming in.
If you need a consultant for that, by the way.
Jesus. Imagine that, $700 an hour for Ineke just to be like, Clint GIF, and then your whole network, your whole business, you'd have to rely on me because everyone would be like, we are no longer dealing with you. We've unsubscribed to everything.
Because
you're just sending me gifts of Clint all the time.
with Clint.
Clint
Yeah.
spam. That's horrible. If anyone wants to get in touch with Ineke, the best way is via Ambition.
I would search for Ambition Consultants on Instagram or Instagram
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
Don't write to my namesake whose bio says no.
Yeah.
You should be able to see me with the underscore there.
Side note, everyone listening, please message
Yes.
that person saying, why don't you just reply to Ineke?
Yeah.
That'd be fun. And obviously, the website's up.
Websites. No, my branding is in progress as we speak.
Do you have a
Website's on
website
its
that says
way.
under construction?
I do actually,
That'd be good.
but I'm fortunate to be working with an amazing designer developer.
Yep.
So web designer developers are quite rare. Normally you have a designer
other,
and then
yep.
a developer. But I'm willing to wait for this person because he's fantastic.
Okay.
So he's developing an amazing site for me as
And
we
unlike
speak.
me, it's not don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. You're happy to let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
but you got to balance it out, I think.
Yeah, you're just further up the scale than me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.